It's called Candid with Kim for a reason. So I'm about to be candid. If I hear one more black person even insinuate or talk about what is Kamala Harris going to do for the black community, I'm going to scream. If I hear one more say, I'm no better off now, I'm worse off now than I was 4 years ago, I'm going to ask you, what have you done for yourself lately? Not what is the government going to do, but what have you done? Because you can't have it both ways. We don't want the government in all of our business. That's just being real. You don't. But you can't expect people to give you money and not get in your business. If you want to know and look at how you were 4 years ago, there was a lot of money out there, a lot of COVID money. What did you do with it? I'll wait. Can you put your hands on it? Can you even point to one thing that you did, one thing that you acquired during that time? And if you cannot, then you got to ask yourself, what is my money management like? Those are real questions. See, you can't always point the finger at other people because when you do, there's three pointing back at you. So that's what I'm saying. Whenever you looking and talking about what is the government going to do, what are you going to do? I am not defending the government at all. Please don't mistake it. I could go on and I could talk about everything that's wrong and what the government is doing wrong and what I don't like and what I don't agree with. That's why I vote. I vote locally, I vote nationally, and I vote in every election. Tax, I vote every one. You hear me? I'm there. Because I want my voice to be heard and I want things to change. I do things like I'm doing with this video. I talk, I post, I put stuff out there. People don't like it always. And some things people haven't thought about and they like. Who cares? I'm going to tell you what I know to be true. We learn, everything we do is based on history. And right now, history is at the mark of repeating itself. And one of the things that historically we have always done as a people, we have always taken care of ourselves. Do you know and realize that the black culture is just one of the only one I can think of that doesn't have a mafia? Because guess what? If too many of us gather in one place, we're going to be shut down. You can't hear about a black cartel. I'll wait. The things we've done on our own. And yet we have forgotten some of those lessons. We have forgotten what it is like to do and pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We had more homeowners as black people coming out of slavery and out of Jim Crow than we do now. Because the values that we have learned, although the method changed, the values should have remained the same. Yes, you still work hard, but you work smarter more than harder. And you still manage, because we manage a lot of our soul food, a lot of things that now are delicacies and things that our other cultures want to steal and borrow and claim as theirs, came out of our necessity. Who do you think thought about making some meal and turning it into dressing? Something that we love and can't wait to have at Thanksgiving. How do you think we came up with seasoning the greens and ham hock? It was the stuff that nobody wanted. Now you can hear about pork belly in any fine restaurant, something we've had in our community for years. So we can't lose the values that we've had, the things that have made us who we are. And all I'm saying is that before you look at a global position to take care of the community, go back and look at what you're doing yourself. One of the reasons I started my videos, trust me, when I first started doing Queen Bee of Doing Business Better, I worried about what everybody was going to say. I thought about people who knew me, who was going to critique everything and say she doesn't know. And I know that I know. I have built companies. I have worked for companies. And there's not one company that I didn't leave better than what I found. Now, some companies didn't listen to me because I am still a black woman. And you know how they hate to be corrected, and especially by me, and I wasn't the owner of the company. And one of the reasons I started my bookkeeping company is because I worked for a CPA. And I watched those people come by. They paid all the money for the financials, and they didn't know what they meant. they would stop by my desk because they knew I did the bookkeeping work and say, well, he gave me this, but when I asked him questions, he didn't really tell me what I need to do better in my business. Am I making money? What can I do better? Because a CPA generally deals with tax prep, and there was no way the guy would answer the question. He was like, well, it depends on the taxes, and it was like all the guy wanted to know was if there's something I could do better. I took time, I looked, and I went through and told them about different things. I said, this is what this meant, your profit and loss, and I was breaking it down. And I realized then at that moment that my services were needed. Bookkeepers are needed. And it's not just tallying up receipts like some of you all put in a garbage bag and take to people and think they're going to separate those receipts. No, get out of here with that mess. You want verifiable documents, which means just like you swipe those cards, debit cards, whatever card you use, you want the bank statements that is connected to them. So basically, I started my business that way out of a necessity because I wanted to educate people on what they needed to make their business better. At the same token, that's why I did my videos. I saw a guy posting a video talking about the best way to pay your car off was to make double payments. And boy, I about screamed. I was so mad. And I'm screaming at the video. And I couldn't do anything with the video because somebody sent it to me. And I'm looking and the guy couldn't hear me. Double payments does not change or eliminate or reduce the amount of interest you pay. That was stupid. And I thought, instead of talking about how stupid his advice was, Kim, how come you're not out here telling people? So that's how the Queen Bee, the channel, the Queen Bee of Doing Business Better, that's how it was born. Because I realized that I had a voice, I had information, people needed it. Do you know how many people looked at his video? And I hope they didn't go out here making double payments. Sure, you paid the car off, but you did not even reduce the interest. And the entire purpose of paying the car off is to not pay as much interest. If you pay it off and you still pay the same amount of interest, duh, you just pay more money faster. But there's a way to do it. Anyway, bottom line, that's why I started my videos. That's why I started talking. And in the same way, Candid with Kim, because there's so much information. We all have platforms. And with everything good, there's always some bad. So just because you have a platform doesn't mean that you're giving the right advice. It doesn't mean that you really know what you're saying. Once again, we tend to run to the people who make us laugh and make something funny or say something we want to hear. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to always tell you what you don't want to hear, and I'm going to always tell you what you need to know. And what I say is not always popular, and I get that. But it's never going to be wrong. It's never going to be intentionally leading you in a bad way, and it's never going to be something you don't need. So when you look at it and you start wondering why you're not better off than you were 4 years ago and you got COVID money, ask yourself, look at yourself and see what you did with the money you had. That was kind of a form of reparations. And if that was any indication of how we will use reparations, think about where you spent your money. There was no way you realistically thought that we were going to be in shutdown forever. But a lot of people did, and a lot of people didn't plan for coming out of shutdown. They didn't think about, I'm going to have to go back and pay rent. There was not a lot of money saved. There was nothing changed. Now your lifestyle is still the same, and you're saying to, now what is the government going to do? How come I'm not better off? I wish I had time on this video to name and to talk about all the things that were passed during that time while you were getting that money and feeling good. All the things that Trump and the Republicans passed that now you're feeling the effects. In the next video, if you go to the Queen Bee of Doing Business Better, you're going to see a video where it talks about the the Tax and Jobs Act bill of 2017. I guess I'm giving it a nickname, Jax. But anyway, it's one of the reasons why you probably can't tell that you're getting more in your check. But when you go to do your tax return, you're not getting those big refunds. That was one of the first things that Trump passed. And most people couldn't feel the effect because as long as you were staying at your current job, you didn't have to fill out a new W-4. For those of you who really understand what a W-4 is, the form you fill out that says how much taxes you want taken out of your check, That form hadn't been changed in 50 years. I know as long as I've been working and as long as I've been alive. And he changed that form. And on the form now, it asks you how many children under 17, how many children over, whatever. And based upon that, you don't pay as many taxes out of your check. Well, guess what? A lot of people were not prepared for that. And when it was time for them to get their income tax, after they went back to work, after COVID, and after realizing it was a culture shock to them. So, when you think about what is the government going to do, you need to first figure out what the government has done. Because not everything they do was good. There was nothing wrong with the COVID money. I'm not saying that at all. But what did you do with that money? So it's not always about what somebody else can do for you. It's about what you do for yourself. And for those of you that are even contemplating voting because you're not sure about Kamala Harris' policies, don't worry. You don't have to worry what the government is going to do, because that dictator you're thinking about voting for is going to put you back in the slave field. History will repeat itself, and you'll be wondering, what did I do and why did I throw my vote away? All right, time is up. Kind of past time, but it has been Kim, Candid with Kim. Peace and love.